He does the same from the big, and Antonio will have position on these two, heading to a three-way flop, which is 2 6s and a jack. Tony likes.
Yeah, Tony playing pretty loose here pre-flop, calling that raise with king 6 offsuit, but he flops 2 6s, and I'm hoping he realizes that this time and tries to get more money in the pot.
After a couple of checks, Antonio bets 15,000, and Guglietti raises to 40.
I expect Antonio to fold. He pays a lot of attention at the table, particularly to how people play, but no, Antonio does make the call.
That's interesting.
Surprising.
We just saw Tony take a line like this, check raising with top pair, so you have to think he's got at least that here, in which case your nines are cooked.
Yeah, and you don't beat a jack either, and I don't know what you expect Tony to just totally bluff with here.
Right, that board's so dry. Both players check the turn. The river is a 3. Guglietti's trip 6 is still best.
Tony back to his slow playing ways, but he knows to bet this river.
35,000. You think he checked the turn in the hopes that Antonio would hang himself?
Yeah, he either wanted Antonio to bet for him, or he wanted to make sure he gets another bet on the river.
What do you got, Tony? What do you like to know?
Now, the problem with responding to Antonio's question is he's not really interested in the words, he's interested in the demeanor. And you saw that Tony there looked very relaxed. Sure, what do you want to know? It's confident demeanor, and I think Antonio will probably pick up on it.
35,000 chip decision for Esfandiari. Really struggling, but ends up making the correct decision, laying down the nines, a hand that I think you and I both agree he could have gotten away from on the flop.
Yeah, I think he should have just folded the flop. Tony has shown throughout the course of this tournament that he's not going to get that creative post-flop. He hasn't been very aggressive pre-flop, so if he starts firing at you, you can just believe him and let go, unless you've got a really strong hand.
Yeah, don't expect a tremendous amount of creativity out of the recreational seats, for sure. And 2 kings for Jason Mercier. They don't require much creativity.
We know the aces have really mistreated him on the Alpha 8, but the kings perhaps will be a little better.
He's made it 12,000 to go. Tony picks up pocket 7s, makes the call. Queen 7 suited for Olivier. He wants to party.
Yeah, when Tony's at the party, Olivier wants an invitation.
Kathy has 6 tray offsuit, and she wants to play as well.
That's strange. We saw her fold King Jack last time when there was no raise to her, but here she just calls with a 6-3 offsuit.
Ace, Jack, 8 on the board. 2 kings still best, but of course, there's a reason you call them ace magnets. Always seems like you can't get kings to stay the overpair on a board. Oh my goodness, did we just see Kathy Laney fire 15,000 at this?
This is a very strange play to make. It's not that I don't think she should ever bluff here, but she has no equity in the hand. She's facing 3 other players, and this is a really coordinated board. You're just not going to get away with this very often, but she's against a hand that she could potentially bluff out if she keeps going.
9 on the turn, and Kathy checks. Jason checks behind her. Now, Mercier had 2 players behind him when he made the call on the flop. Wasn't scared of Kathy's lead, despite the fact that the ace was out there. And now we see a queen of clubs on the river.
So look, if she is going to bluff, this is the card to bluff. It completes the straight, it completes the flush.
Yeah, 20,000 is the number. It's almost like she's really wanting to get called with that bet sizing.
But it does work.
Wow. Kathy Laney with 6 tray offsuit. Complete air has just bluffed the pro.
We've seen her bluff twice in this tournament so far and gotten away with it both times. She gets a lot of credibility.
Well, I don't know how much longer we can continue to refer to the Texas Oil CEO as an amateur, because with plays like that, she's quickly earning our respect.
Now, Martin, this island must attract some pretty big boats.
Yeah, it does. We are right in the center of the primary cruising ground of the Caribbean. So we have a lot of really cool islands in close proximity. We have St. Bart's, St. Martin, all in a short distance of St. Kitts.
Now, what kind of boats are we talking?
Yeah, we're talking about the big ones, the mega yachts.
And what are they worth?
Typically, a brand new yacht costs about $1 million a meter, and a 150-foot vessel is 45 meters.
Wow, $45 million for a boat. That blows my mind. All right, now there is some big machinery down there to sort of get all this going. What are you playing with?
That's a dredge. It's basically like a vacuum cleaner. It's pumping the sand from the basin of the harbor, and it's moving it to different places.
What's it all going to look like when it's finished?
Yeah, well, once the docks are complete, we'll start adding in amenities like the shops and the restaurants. So it's going to be a large marina community when it's all done.
Do you get to go down there and play?
They don't let me down there.
As if this place couldn't get any better, now they're gonna open it up. And my guess is, Tony Dunst, that once that marina is done, we're gonna have even bigger fields for our Alpha 8 events here, right?
Yeah, I hope they have room for my 50-meter yacht.
I hope they have room for my rowboat. Tony Guglietti, one of the two remaining recreational players in the field, is your new chip leader. He's got 425,000, the only other player other than Olivier Bousquet to lay claim to that honor in this event thus far. Couple of folds in front of Jason Mercier, who's got Queen 10 suited. Makes it 12,000 to go from the button.
No limping from him on the button.
Nope, Guglietti out of the way. Ace 4 offsuit for Bousquet in the big blind, and he'll call for an extra 6,000. Take the flop heads up.
Check.
Checking in the dark. Flop is Ace Queen 7. Top pair for Olivier, middle pair for Jason.
Yeah, Olivier would have liked to have called a bet there, but Jason checks behind with his second pair and now turns trips.
Yeah, he's got the best hand. Second check from Olivier, and with trip queens, Jason Mercier reaches for chips and comes up with 14,000 of them.
When someone like Jason checks that flop, it's usually with showdown value, so Olivier doesn't feel good here with his ace on the turn, but he's not gonna fold yet.
Calls the 14,000. Pot up to 60K. River card is a 3. Bousquet's playing the 7 kicker on the board. Checks a third time. Mercier's got to come up with a figure he thinks he can get paid off on. 43,000. And you see the look on Olivier's face. It's almost as though he's surprised at the size of the bet. A little bigger than he expected.
I'm guessing he'll fold since he's essentially calling for a chop. He just looks kind of defeated here. Things are going so wrong, and they were going so well up until the last few hands that he played. And he does get away, so another well-played hand by Olivier. He actually minimized his losses there, but it still feels dirt.
Yeah, and the look on his face is certainly one that reflects his frustration.
I wasn't pretend tanking with a misflush.
Well, you could have King 4 of hearts.
Yeah, my hand was better than King 4 of
He
hearts.
had an Ace 4, obviously.
Jason calls his exact hand.
How is that happening?
Just wondering when you're gonna finally call.
Well, my hand is better, I guess. I just really didn't like that turn.
It is remarkable how well these players can read people's hands. It is a skill that they've honed over the course of many hours on the felt. Folded around to Olivier, who's right back in the saddle after that dust off. Limps in the small blind. Kathy says run it. Flop is Ace 8-3. 2 diamonds.
Check.
Air for Olivier, who checks it over to Kathy, and Kathy checks back with a pair of 8s. Board pairs on the turn.
Check.
Olivier checks one more time, and Kathy checks again as well. River card is the 4 of hearts. And with 17,000 out there, Bousquet is just gonna take a nonchalant stab at it for 10K, and Kathy makes the call.
Well, it doesn't work for Olivier here, but I like his bet. If he just checks, he's gonna lose to Jack High, Queen High, and King High, all of which are hands I expect Kathy to fold to his bet. This time, she happened to have a pair.
You know, we call her a recreational player, but as the pros will tell you, Kathy Laney has garnered their respect.
This is actually my first time playing with Kathy. I've heard that she's kind of a regular in cash games down in Texas. When she does play hands, she tends to have good ones.
She's playing kind of tight, but you know, she's not making any big mistakes or anything.
She's a non-professional, so obviously as a professional, I'd rather play with a non-professional, but she's definitely, you know, not someone that you can just run over. She definitely holds on.
And you heard Olivier say that when she plays hands, she typically has good ones, but we know Kathy has run 2 bluffs with absolutely nothing in this tournament, so she's doing a great job of taking advantage of her image. And she looks the part out there, even when she's playing and winning dramatic hands, none of it shows in her face.
15.
A lot of times emotions get the better of amateur players, and Ace-King offsuit. She's not giving anything away after the raise to 15,000 from Olivier on the button with Ace-8. Kathy moves all in for 263,000. And Antonio goes all in as well, having woken up with 2 queens. Easy fold for Bousquet, and we've got a race.
Pretty good hands.
Antonio will be relieved to know that one of the aces is dead, but still at risk here as Kathy does cover him.
Good luck, Kathy.
Good luck.
Here comes the flop. Can she connect with an ace or a king? No, it's jack high, and it's rainbow. Esfandiari is loving it with his 2 queens, now a 3-1 favorite to hold on. All he's got to do is escape an ace or a king on the turn or river. The turn is a 5. Kathy can now hit an ace, king, or a deuce, giving her a wheel
Oh, gosh.
to make the best
there
hand. And
is
right
the
away,
deuce.
there it is.
Nice hand.
Sorry.
No, sorry. Nice hand.
Running 5 deuce.
That's the first reaction we've seen from her all tournament.
That is an incredible turn of events there. And the woman who's in for 200,000
Nice hand. Good luck, guys.
is going to eliminate the man who's in for
Just less than me.
$300,000, and that is bitter defeat for Antonio Esfandiari. He's probably going to feel a bit of a damper on his vacation spirits as he takes a dose of the red wash and leaves 4 players behind on the money bubble.
Oh, gosh.
Nice hand.
Sorry.
No, sorry. Nice hand.
How you feeling? You all right? Doesn't hit you too
That
hard?
hurt a little bit. I mean, that was a chip lead pot with 4 people left. And, you know, if I win that pot, I guarantee I'm going to cash. So, but whatever, it's a coin flip. You win some, you lose some.
You do.
Yeah.
Well, you played some awesome poker. Who's your pick on who's going to take this one down?
I hope it's Kathy.
You do?
Just to punish the pros.
So she can
Tony
use your chips
or
well.
Kathy, punish the pros.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us, Antonio. And now we are on the money bubble.
Well, one thing we know for sure is Antonio is always a fan of punishment. His good buddy Phil Locke, often the recipient. This time, he's on the receiving end of it, courtesy of Kathy Laney, our new chip leader. Shortest stack at the table, ironically enough, belongs to Olivier Bousquet, but at one point was the wire-to-wire chip leader.
Yeah, fortunately for Olivier, he's still playing really well despite the frustration mounting, and he's not that far off the chip leader.
Yeah, if there's anybody who can deal with the sort of downward trend that he has been faced with over the last few pots he's played, it is Olivier Bousquet, a real veteran, a middle-aged wizard, as
Middle-aged
Antonio
wizard.
likes to say. Folded around to the small blind of Kathy Laney with 10-9 offsuit. She raises to 15,000.
Yeah, we haven't seen her be very aggressive pre-flop, but it seems like she's changed gears since becoming our chip leader and is now becoming a little more wide in the type of hand she'll play pre-flop.
Pocket 5s for Jason Mercier, who defends his big blind, and Kathy's outflopped those 5s. 9 high is the board. She's got 9s and fires another 15,000.
This is a good flop for both players, obviously better for Kathy, but Jason likes where he's sitting on
Why
this
a good
9-6
flop for
deuce flop.
Why a good flop for 2 5s?
Because he anticipates that she's raising Broadway cards or aces before the flop, and so a 9-high board looks pretty safe to his 5s, and when another 9 comes out, that's actually a very safe card for his hand. He just doesn't know she has trips.
Right, 3 9s on the turn for Kathy. She fired another 15,000, got called once more. Now a jack on the river. And with 94K in the middle, she fires 25,000.
Feels like this chip is going away if I throw it in.
He knows that Kathy leans on the tighter side, but also there's a lot of hands that she can have that have gotten to this river without any showdown value. That includes missed flush draws, missed straight draws, or even just overcards where she decided to run a 3-barrel bluff.
Is she capable of the 3-barrel bluff? That's what Mercier is asking himself right now.
Well, we know she's capable of some creative bluffs. The problem is she hasn't been caught yet at this tournament, so Jason doesn't know.
And she still hasn't been caught. She's got the goods yet again, taking another pot from one of these pros and adding to her chip lead. She's demonstrated some real comfort here at these stakes, and you gotta believe that that has everything to do with her high stakes experience playing alongside Bill Perkins and his buddies in the big Houston cash games that Bill hosts. You see Kathy right back at it, raising with Queen Jack offsuit to 15,000. Mercier's gonna give her another try, this time with 6-7 suited. but he'll have company. Guglietti calls with ace-deuce offsuit, the kind of hand that perhaps we want to see him get away from pre-flop.
Yeah, we've been talking about Tony playing too many hands pre-flop for a while now, and it looks like Olivier is going to try and take advantage of that fact by putting the squeeze play on and 3-betting king-4 offsuit to 60,000.
So this has nothing to do with his hand here. He is just reading the situation and trying to take this pot down right here and now.
Exactly. He also thinks that if Jason had a strong hand, he'd likely just 3-bet Kathy to begin with, so he's confident that both players who just called probably don't have much.
And just taking his chances against Kathy's holding, and Kathy has defended calling. He'll be up against her, out of position, heads up to the flop, which is 8-8-9. Olivier's king high, currently the better hand, but Kathy's got 2 overs and a gut shot straight draw.
It's actually a pretty good flop for Kathy. Now, many professionals would call this flop with the intention to bluff numerous turns and rivers, especially a diamond. I'm curious to see how she'll play it.
154,000 in the middle. Olivier bets 55,000. What will Kathy Laney do? She's gonna make the call. Pot up to 264K. Big one developing here between the pro and amateur. Turn card, a queen of diamonds. Kathy's now got the best hand.
Yeah, that is the worst card in the deck for Olivier's hand. If she had Jack-10, diamonds, or just something like Queen-Jack, now she's ahead.
Yeah, given her pre-flop raising range after defending against the 3-bet and having called on the flop, that is an awful card for Olivier. He shuts it down. Kathy checks behind him, and now the board pairs a second time on the river, 8s and 9s. Olivier checking, and Laney content to let the pot stand where it is, checks, and will take down a big one.
I like that she checked behind there. I don't think she can get more value from a worse hand by betting, and on a 2-pair board with 3 to a flush out, if she does bet, she's really over-representing her hand.
The tough going continues for Olivier's stack, trending in the wrong direction. Meanwhile, Kathy Laney is pushing ahead further into the chip lead.
Poker here in St. Kitts is the best, and now you can take the fun of Hold'em anywhere you go with Club WPT Express Poker. Grab your iPhone and download Club WPT Express Poker from the App Store. It's fun and it's free. So what are you waiting for? Get in the game and play. There are so many gorgeous sights in St. Kitts, and one of the best ways to see them is on the St. Kitts Scenic Railway.
Built a century ago to transport sugarcane, these days the sugar train carries visitors eager to discover the island's scenic vistas and lush ravines.
I'm not good with heights.
Even for those who aren't playing poker, there is certainly plenty to do here in St. Kitts, and Lynn Gilmartin has done just about all of it.
She is out there living the life.
Yeah, living the life is exactly what Kathy Laney is doing. She has pushed her chip lead to 687,000 in front of her, over 300,000 better than the only other amateur left in the field, Tony Guglietti, who's got 380 in front of him, Jason Mercier with 252,000, and the one-time chip leader, Olivier Bousquet, down to just 181,000 in front of him with the blinds at 3 and 6,000 and the antes at 1K. Guglietti looks down at pocket tens, and he is going to raise it. We haven't seen pre-flop raising from him much at all in this event. He makes it 16,000 to go. Bousquet's got 6s.
Yeah, I like that Olivier is just calling here. He knows that Tony prefers to limp pre-flop and that he's only raising his strongest hands.
Kathy Laney with queen deuce suited is gonna put some of her chips to work, calling 13,000 unexpectedly. Ace-9 off for Jason Mercier. He defends his big blind, family pot, and the flop is Jack 4 deuce. Couple of spades. Laney with deuces. Tony's 10 still best. 2 checks in front of him, and he checks as well.
Yeah, he's a little scared of that jack there, plus he's typically passive.
Can't blame Olivier for doing the betting for him. He fires 25,000 with effectively second pair. Laney not ready to give up with the deuces, and it's back over to Tony.
And it looks like Tony is putting a raise out there. He min raised that 25,000 chip bet. This is a very odd play. I'm not sure it's going to accomplish what he wants, but it is going to throw off his opponents, and hey, he still has the best hand here.
Another 25,000 milked out of both Olivier and Kathy's stacks after that check raise. And from the turn, a third spade in the form of an ace.
Yeah, that's not the card that anyone wanted to see, and it should slow down the action. Maybe Olivier will bet, but I don't think so.
Two checks in front of him.
Check.
He's got the only spade, but checks. And the river card, a 10 of spades. Googly Eddie makes a set of 10s. Olivier's got the best hand with the flush. But it's Kathy Laney with naked deuces that fires 50 grand.
Wow, she's betting small here too. That's a pot of 200,000, so it's just a quarter pot bet, but Tony in an awkward spot with his set on a 4-flush board, and Olivier with a small flush might not believe he's good here against such a small bet that looks like it's begging to be called.
Well, the action's on Tony.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It's so